What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media. Outside of Gillette Stadium, as the Patriots are on their bye week, we are not here at CLNS Media, grinding through it, getting back to work as the Patriots head into the latter half of their 2024 season with 4 games left. A reminder, we are powered by Prize Picks and Game Time. Head over to Prize Picks, use code CLNS. You get $50 instantly when you play, just $5. And head over to Game Time, use code CLNS. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, Taylor, 4 games left to go. We've had 13 so far. Let's give each offensive position group grades so far. We'll start with the offensive line, a unit that has struggled this season, a lot of injury, a new offensive line coach in Scott Peters. What is your grade for them throughout the season so far?
So we are grading on a bit of a curve.
Yes.
One is on recency, because if they're playing better over like the past month, you want to give them a little more grace because it's all about improvement.
Yep.
And also you have to take into account what's gone on at the position. The offensive line, as we know, patchwork group, very shorthanded. The only guy that's a long-term starter for you on that line is Mike Kadlick, although Darian Lowe has played pretty well. I'm going to give this group a C-.
Okay.
I think they're punching above their weight every single week. For the most part, in recent weeks, they haven't been a major liability. The ground game's gotten going. I think that's a testament to them. It's been inconsistent, but it's been much better than it was in the middle of the season where you really didn't have any run game to speak of. Like I said, Darian Lowe, far exceeding expectations. Really, the minus for me, I really would have given them like a C+ or a C because I wanted to give some grace, but it's really the self-inflicted mistakes for me. It's the pre-snap penalties like the false starts and sometimes legal formation, those kinds of things. The holding, I give a little more grace. They've had some really, really tight crews that were calling games, and sometimes it wasn't necessarily fair, but the penalties need to get out of the equation. It's one thing if you're overmatched physically, but you can't hurt yourself with those self-inflicted errors. But for the most part, Ben Brown is really impressed as a guy they signed mid-season, had to play a game after being signed midweek, and has still been relatively solid for them. Left guard's been a bit of a rotation. Layden Robinson looked a little bit better in his return to the lineup. And Trey Jacobs obviously benched against the Dolphins with a really tough matchup against Chop Robinson, but really bounced back last week, was at the point of attack on some solid runs for the Patriots. So again, C- for that group. They're doing the best they can. Scott Peters is squeezing water out of rocks. They can be better in terms of their execution and their discipline, but overall, I think you can't really complain about what that group's giving you.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. C-, if not an incomplete. They haven't had the guys that they want out there. Now, I know that's a part of football. You have to deal with injury, but I think Scott Peters has actually done a pretty good job dealing with all this attrition. Another center in Ben Brown, probably the most important position along the offensive line on that side of the football. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the C- as well. All right, let's move on to the running backs. Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, JaMycal Hasty. That room has been up and down this season. What's your grade for them?
I'm going to go with a C. I think Ramondre Stevenson, just what he's had to work with, which is not much. Not a whole lot of yards before contact for him. I will say recently, it feels like his vision's been a bit off. I don't know if that's, he dealt with a foot injury. The offensive line blocking has been inconsistent. The lineup itself has been inconsistent, so probably hard for him to really find a groove. I also know he's dealing with some stuff off the field, and maybe, that has something to do with it. Don't want to speculate too heavily.
Sure.
But if you look at the numbers, Ramondre, when you look at missed tackles, yards after contact, those numbers have really gone down for him when you expect that to be a strength. Again, offensive line's not helping him. The guy was running into some brick walls, but, he has kind of been on the downside. But then Antonio Gibson has actually looked really good in a very limited sample size over the past few weeks. The reason I can't really give more of the grade towards him is because we haven't really seen a ton of him, especially in the usage that we expected as more of a receiving back. But when he gets the ball as a runner, he has really impressed. JaMycal Hasty as well. Not a ton of opportunities for him, but he's made the most of them for the most part. So I feel like a C for that group is pretty fair.
I'm going to go even higher, C+. I think what we've seen from Ramondre is good enough for what's been in front of him. And Antonio Gibson has really impressed me the last couple weeks. And I think if we're grading on that curve, he's been solid. They're going to try and get him involved even more in these next 4 games. So I'm going to go C+.
Oh, I also got to knock Gibson because he missed some blocks against the Dolphins. That I did forget about until just now. So yeah, I'm sticking firm with my C though. I'm sorry. The good has been good and the bad has, cost them at times. So
I'm with
C
you.
so far.
All right, wide receiver room. Kendrick Bourne, Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, a couple rookies, Javon Baker, Jalen Polk. What are you giving these guys throughout the 2024 season?
I think I might have to go with the D+ for this one. I know the talent isn't necessarily there, especially when it comes to the veterans. You didn't get Kendrick Bourne until midway through the season. Really, the guys you've been relying on are second-year receivers and Kayshon Boutte, who has been much better, been a little more quiet in recent weeks, but I think that has to do with the fact they played a lot of zone defenses, and Kayshon Boutte a lot of the time has been more of their ISO kind of specialist. So he's been solid, but again, not super consistent. Demario Douglas, obviously, is your main playmaker at wide receiver, but even him and Drake Maye having trouble getting on the same page at times, so I got to dock him. And then Kendrick Bourne, another guy who's starting to come on a little bit. He's starting, especially on the scramble drill, show up for Drake Maye, and again, so zone coverage. They're getting some chemistry there, but you're also getting at least one incorrect route from Kendrick Bourne, and it seems like every time it happens, it costs them, and it happens, it seems like at least once every single week. And then you look at KJ Osborne, hasn't really given you anything. Jalen Polk and Javon Baker haven't given you anything either. So I feel like I'm kind of being generous giving them a D+, because even the guys that have performed for you have been inconsistent, and then you've just had some complete duds in that room. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going with a D+.
I'm with you. I'm going D-. It has not been great. Right. Both rookie receivers have done nothing. The guys who have been solid in the Keyshawn Boutte has obviously been awesome compared to what he was last season. Yep. 6th-round pick, missing a ton of time, essentially getting benched after week 1. He's been great, but the guys who you expect to be good, Kendrick Bourne, too many mental mistakes. Demario Douglas, too many mental mistakes. Not on the same page as their quarterbacks. And like I said, the rookies you've seen absolutely nothing from. This is a very important next 4 weeks for them. So until they show me something, KJ Osborne, the one signing he made this offseason, has done nothing, been mostly inactive over these last couple weeks. So I haven't seen it from the wide receiver room. They have a lot to prove over these next 4 weeks. For now, I'm going with D-. All right, let's move on. The tight end position. Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, a room filled with 2 quality veterans, and then a rookie in Jaheim Bell. What have you seen from them so far? What's your grade for them?
I'm going A- for the tight ends. I think they've exceeded pretty much everyone's expectations. Something about the Patriots and these number 2 tight ends becoming PFF darlings for them. Austin Hooper is the only guy who's caught a deep pass from Drake Maye in the past month. There was the one on a corner route against the Bears, and then obviously the incredible touchdown from Drake Maye against the Dolphins where Austin Hooper exploited some space in the defense. He's been really good as their inline tight end, been a very impressive blocker. Yeah. As a receiver, he's been a good safety blanket. He was kind of inconsistent early in the year, but really has seemed to find a groove, especially downfield. He's been one of the more productive tight ends in recent weeks. And then Hunter Henry. I did dock the grade, bring it down to a- because he has been inconsistent. There have been some mental mistakes where you have the drop against the Colts, a really tough play, but for the guy who wants to be Mr. Consistent, he can't have plays like that. A couple missed blocks against the Rams in the red zone that were costly. He's had some untimely penalties. Just some things that you don't really want from your number 1 target, the guy that clearly Drake Maye has more trust in than anybody. But at the same time, Hunter Henry has been a mostly very reliable security blanket for Drake Maye, a difference maker on scramble drills, and also as a run blocker, he continues to be solid and do a lot of the dirty work. Jaheim Bell, haven't seen a ton from him, but frankly, he's been on the field more than I might have expected considering the summer. He really struggled, and even when he's been on the field, I can't sit here and say that he's necessarily impressed me, but he's doing the things behind the scenes where I know he's working hard to get on special teams and have that translate to some opportunities on offense. So the young man's getting on the field. For a guy who was the last pick for the Patriots, can't ask a whole lot more from him there. So really impressed with the tight end room, A-.
Yeah, I'm with you, A-. Not much to say. You said it pretty much all there. Drake Maye has really found a groove with both Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper over his last couple of games. We'll see how that continues to build in these next 4 games. All right, let's move on to the quarterback position. I want to do both guys. I want to grade Jacoby Brissett and I want to grade Drake Maye because Jacoby Brissett was up and down. The offense was up and down, not great while he was playing, but I think he's been a consummate pro for this team, helped Drake Maye along, and has really kind of turned them into the team they are, given what he's done to help Drake Maye behind the scenes. So first and foremost, your grade for Jacoby Brissett this year?
I got to give Jacoby. I'm just going to go on the field because off the field, I'm sure he's been like an A++. He's been supportive for Drake Maye. Yeah. Nothing, backroom drama behind the scenes or anything. He's been that consummate pro. So A+ for Jacoby Brissett the person. Jacoby Brissett the player, I gotta go C-. I'll go C- because obviously Drake Maye has turned this into a much better offense. There have been some improvements in other places where you got to give guys credit there as well. But at the same time, it just looked so hard to move the ball at all with Jacoby Brissett. And it wasn't all on the supporting cast. Obviously, the offensive line was really just getting him killed. There were times where he was holding onto the ball and not really putting the ball in places like we've seen with Drake Maye and being aggressive and trying to take some of those shots. I know he was trying to protect the football, but he didn't even do that at times. And then the accuracy was pretty spotty as well. There was nothing to be spoken of downfield.
No. All right, I'm going to blend on-field and off-field for Jacoby's grade. I'm going to give him a B again. I think it's been awesome. I think he was the perfect guy to bring in here. A lot of people argued, go get Baker Mayfield, go get Gardner Minshew, go get some of these other guys. It's like, no. Drake Maye was pretty much ready to play. You needed a veteran who understood the system, who could bring him along, and Jacoby did exactly that. I think the way they've handled the quarterback position is probably the best thing they've done all season long for the 2024 Patriots, sitting here at 3-10. A lot of question marks. I think the only answer you really have right now is at quarterback, and they hit it from both backup and starter. So let's finish it off with Drake Maye, the Patriots' promising rookie, the number 3 overall pick. Taylor, what is your grade for Drake Maye? Maye this season?
I'm going A.
Yeah.
I got to go solid. I want to give him an A+ so
So
badly,
do I.
but there have been the turnovers. You had the strip sack problem. He did have the turnover streak where last week was the only time he didn't have any kind of turnover-worthy play. But the impressiveness has been the growth that we've seen. Like, the fact that his whole thing was arm talent, right? Like, he's going to be throwing the ball downfield. He realized, I can't really do that. I don't have the supporting cast. Alex Mantel's done a great job not putting him in positions to try to do that. But also, he's adapted. He's taken what the defense gives him underneath. He knows where his eyes need to be when the ball is snapped so he can understand, identify, and then exploit problems. Obviously, the Miami game was really the one that kind of fell off a little bit. For the most part, he's been extremely impressive. Pre-snap, post-snap, the scrambling that he's brought. He's been the best scrambling quarterback in the NFL, and it's made a huge difference. But you also see when you take out the scrambling, his ability to sit in the pocket as a passer has been more impressive week by week by week. Are there things he needs to improve? Absolutely, but I don't think I would have predicted that Drake Maye was going to be here by season's end, much less right now. He's got to finish strong, but I don't know how you give him anything less than an A. He's been outstanding and very impressive.
I was going to say, he's been doing this all, and we forget that he's a rookie. I feel like I say this every time we do a show.
22-year-old rookie.
Yeah, he's 22. He hasn't played even close to a full season in the NFL, and he looks this good already. It's an A. No complaints. Yeah, the turnovers are one thing. Strip sacks, interceptions, what have you. Alex Van Pelt said that needs to improve as well, but that needs to improve for veterans across the league. It has to improve for rookies as well, but Drake Maye has been sensational. I'm going with an A for him as well. Those are our bye-week grades here on CLNS. Make sure to keep it here on Patriots Press Pass for all of your Patriots coverage for the remainder of the 2024 New England Patriots season.
Make sure to subscribe to Patriots Press Pass for all your Patriots news and updates on YouTube. And for all our written work, make sure you check out clnsmedia.com.